Hello again. A few years ago there was a craze in this country for autobiographical books about miserable and unhappy childhoods. Children who grew up in orphanages run by cruel nuns, kids who were abused by family members or horribly neglected, that kind of thing. In the trade, these kind of books were known as misery memoirs, and bookshops, even W.H. Smith, had separate shelves devoted to them, full of titles like Please Daddy No, or A Child Called It, or Nobody Listened. I'm sure that most viewers will remember the kind of book I mean. In time, the market became glutted, it collapsed, and now you don't see those sorts of books that often except in charity shops. However, the misery memoir market has received the most welcome shot in the arm in recent years. During the 1950s and 1960s, the most notorious of the Nazi camps was Belsen. This was the one everybody mentioned when thinking of the horrors of the Second World War. It was in the course of time overtaken by Auschwitz, and now Auschwitz is the archetypal Nazi death camp or concentration camp. 6 years ago, a novel was published called The Tattooist of Auschwitz. This was supposedly based on the real-life story of prisoners who had been held in the camp. It was a huge success, and others quickly decided to cash in on the name of Auschwitz. Just like the misery memoirs about children being mistreated and abused by nuns in Irish orphanages, there suddenly seemed to be a limitless market for novels and non-fiction books with Auschwitz in their title. Such books appear now every month. It's a cultural phenomenon about which few people seem keen to talk, the Holocaust being, of course, the most sacred of cows in the modern world. A quick skim through Amazon turned up the following titles over the last few years, but this list is by no means exclusive. The Tattooist of Auschwitz, The Midwife of Auschwitz, The Boy Who Drew Auschwitz, The Girl Who Escaped from Auschwitz, The Twins of Auschwitz, The Daughter of Auschwitz, The Stable Boy of Auschwitz, The Last Boy in Auschwitz, The Auschwitz Photographer, The Librarian of Auschwitz, The Dressmakers of Auschwitz, The Ballerina of Auschwitz, A Little Girl in Auschwitz, A Gypsy in Auschwitz, The Seamstress of Auschwitz, The Violinist of Auschwitz, and The Fighter of Auschwitz. These are not part of a series, by the way. They're all by different authors, in the main by different publishers. It's simply people cashing in on the market. Speaking for myself, I find something monumentally tacky about this mad craze for Auschwitz misery memoirs. The market is still expanding, though, and the reading public has not apparently yet read enough about the horrors of the Holocaust. I dare say that the bubble will eventually burst, just as it did with tales about the Magdalene laundries in Ireland and childhood abuse and so on. But for the time being, nothing seems to appeal more to people than reading about sad lives with Auschwitz in the title of the book. It really is very weird and also in terribly poor taste.